Is it legal for Trump to fire a Federal Reserve governor? Let's find out. I'm Berkeley from MWIG. Each week, we pick a news story to practice some media literacy basics. Today, we're looking at this article from Politico that discusses how President Trump recently announced he was firing Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook in a letter he posted on social media. First, let's stop. This story requires us to understand some terms and timelines to get the full picture. First off, the role of the Federal Reserve is to promote the health and stability of the U.S. economy. Members of the Federal Reserve Board of Governors are nominated by the President, confirmed by the Senate, and serve a term of 14 years. Cook was nominated in May 2022 to fill an unexpired term and subsequently reappointed in September 2023 for a term expected to last until January 2038. Earlier this month, Cook was accused of mortgage fraud by the director of the Federal Housing Finance Agency. The director claims that in June 2021, Cook falsified bank documents and property records by designating two different properties in different states, both as her primary residence. Then on Monday this week, Trump fired Cook in a letter he posted to social media. The next day, Cook's lawyer announced that she will file a lawsuit to prevent the firing. Cook argues that Trump has no cause or authority to fire her and is taking legal action against him. A source in the Politico article claims that Trump's decision to fire Cook is an authoritarian power grab, which is a bold statement. But on the flip side, if Cook really is guilty of committing mortgage fraud, then that is also a pretty serious accusation. Now, let's learn more about Politico. According to Media Bias Fact Check, Politico has high factual reporting with a slight to moderate liberal bias. Now, let's find more coverage on this story. This week's issue is a little more difficult to understand, so it's important to learn more before we make up our minds about this. The Politico article references Trump's letter to Cook, where he claims that as president, he has a solemn duty to ensure that the laws of the United States are faithfully executed, and therefore, the law requires Cook's immediate removal from office. Since the Politico article doesn't provide much detail on what law Trump is specifically referencing, it's worthwhile for us to learn more. From a quick Google search, we found this Forbes article. In it, we learn more about the Federal Reserve Act, which grants presidents the right to remove Federal Reserve governors for cause. The Federal Reserve Act doesn't define for cause at all, making it a legally gray area whether Trump actually has cause under the law to fire Cook. Could a mortgage fraud claim from before Cook was nominated impact her position today? An expert in Federal Reserve Board history said the allegations of mortgage fraud should have been discovered and discussed before Cook was appointed. And for this firing to be considered for cause, Cook should have had the opportunity to explain her side of the story before being fired. Finally, let's try to trace this information back to the original source. First, let's look at the letter Trump posted on social media earlier this week. In it, we see that he references Article 2 of the Constitution and the Federal Reserve Act to justify his authority to fire Cook. We can reference both Article 2 and the Federal Reserve Act to learn more about the president's ability to appoint and remove members from the board. So, is Trump's decision to fire Lisa Cook legal? Because it's difficult to determine what constitutes for cause, we'll need to see how this case unfolds and learn more before we can say for sure. For more media literacy content, subscribe to our free weekly news roundup.